My name is Tainan Messina. I'm a PhD researcher at the University of Lisbon. My thesis focuses on the nexus of agriculture, biodiversity conservation, and climate adaptation. I'm very passionate about this complexity, and I think agriculture has such a huge potential to promote good things that we need to have more attention to it and also change some paradigms.
Food is what keeps us going, and agriculture has this opportunity to improve health, to tackle poverty, to conserve biodiversity, and many other sustainable development goals. Small and large systems must have biodiversity elements such as trees and birds in order to help the planetary system. Trees are key elements as they provide shelter and nesting spots for animals such as birds, or retaining water, for example, and they boost ecosystem services locally, such as pest control on crops. Our research developed a methodology to help decision makers to quantify ecosystem services and functional resilience provided by birds in farmlands, and to understand how management decisions on the landscape level impact climate adaptation, biodiversity conservation, and food production on the long-term perspective.
For that, we carried out a study case in Central Portugal, in the region of Colega, which is a river valley bottom area, and is highly productive in terms of food and profit. The Tagus River Basin is home for many aquatic birds and also other fauna. It has lots of vegetation fragments that are important for ecosystem resilience.
We worked with the tree gradient to understand where the services were better provided, so we chose areas with just crops, areas with crops that had nearby trees, then hedgerows and small fragments, and lastly, a natural reserve called Paulo do Boquilobo. We compiled bird data such as traits, diets, and other main characteristics to create species guilds, to study the capacity of these groups, to forage along the landscape gradient, and to estimate their daily food intake. What we learned was that crop areas close to trees had an average food consumption of 70 kilos per hectare a year, while agricultural points far from trees had only 11. It is a 55% increase on the pest predation service. In addition to this increase of the service, which has a direct economic value for the farmer, there is also a need to consider the reduction in the use of pesticides and the very significant increase in biodiversity at the landscape level. These are usually good indicators for ecosystems and landscape's resilience to disturbance, so that the ecosystem can continue to provide the same services after disturbance. We concluded that the values of the predation service in the region by birds are quite significant, that they will be higher with the presence of trees. So this was a pilot project for the development of the tool, and we now expect to upscale its use and to transform it into a digital and user-friendly tool that could be used by different stakeholders. We also expect to provide an experience in which users will be able to tailor their own complexity of variables to better understand and visualize the role of nature. We expect the tool to be used not only for landscape management, but also for capacity building and awareness raising regarding the importance of agrobiodiversity. We need to have farmers on board in order to support the transition we need on farming practices.
This is the restoration decade, so we need to take this momentum to really integrate food production, biodiversity conservation, and climate adaptation. If we want to ensure environmental sustainability and food security, we must bring back nature to farmlands.